safety there.
Now with this out, I actually expect Renekton to have a fairly high prevalence in this matchup.
And a ban that made it all the way to last pick, Elise, is out of this game.
Yeah, that's a ban. TSM got to band away themselves a little bit there. The Odd One is usually incredibly comfortable playing Elise. That's kind of the champion he got himself back into super top tier with.
Yeah.
Very surprised at that ban. This would tell me, yeah, okay. They banned Elise to force the LeBlanc ban from CLG, because otherwise Bjergsen would have just picked it and probably proceeded to kill Hotshot multiple times.
And again, with the mid lanes being so focused, the supports finding themselves through this week.
Yeah, support bans have definitely diminished. I'd say X-Special is continuing his trend. In the 10 times he played CLG last year, he only played Sona, Thresh, and Lulu. So he's Thresh, perfect for him.
Yeah, remember those all-star flays against St. Vicious in their game versus Curse? I think X-Special got some pretty good kudos for that game.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what they have next.
He's a good Thresh player.
He is a
we can
very
say this. And Double Lift will know all
player.
about it, because he got to lane with his Thresh.
You don't go to All-Stars for no reason. We'll see what CLG has. They are taking their time. Maybe they didn't expect to see, like you said, TSM somewhat banning themselves out.
Yeah, they've had hit or miss pick and ban phases. Even in their incredibly strong victory over Curse, their pick and ban phase wasn't actually that strong. Even their coach Monte Cristo said that they got outpicked entirely in that game, but won basically because of the blue steal.
Yeah. Whenever we see a Kha'Zix, a little ahead of ourselves, but we always see a Lulu. But with these two picks, there is kill potential coming out of CLG.
Hey, that's most likely a jungle Kha'Zix, actually. Yeah. Link has played one game. It was their win against Dignitas on jungle Kha'Zix. I wasn't sold on it. I feel like there's a huge gap in Kha'Zix jungle, and it's more of a solo queue pick, and here's why. It's because he needs to get ahead to be effective. He needs to get his Lizard and a Tiamat. His Lizard Elder and a Tiamat to start being strong. But he also can't duel other junglers early game. So against very strong counter-ganking junglers like the Odd One, all Odd One has to do is follow Link around, and he will come out on top.
Absolutely. And looking at Odd One, looking at the rest of the team on TSM, I'd say they are winning Champion Select right now. Those are some great picks for Team Comp.
Bjergsen getting the Gragas right here.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly contested pick around the world and has been for quite some time. Gragas just offers a little bit of everything, and especially in this matchup, because Bjergsen should have a monstrous advantage over Hotshot GG, it gives him the push wave and roam potential that he's probably going to have a lot of time to do if he starts beating Hotshot pretty well.
And that's actually what CLG's been all about, is roaming around. So if they can stop that, maybe we can see CLG kind of put on the back burner for now. A double lift. Even though he got that loss on Ezreal, he takes it again.
And another Leona-Ezreal combo. Yeah. It's a pretty good damage spike from range if Leona ults and Ezreal just ults in as well and like throws a Mystic Shot. That's usually enough to kill someone. But there's a bit of anti-synergy right there, you know? It's the all-in support with the very defensive AD carry. This is telling me that CLG isn't planning on picking any type of peel for Hotshot GG in the mid lane. Maybe a somewhat lower utility champion, and Doublelift knows he's going to have to fend for himself already. And the only reason they haven't shown Hotshot's pick yet is because they don't want TSM to know with their final choice.
Looks like Dyrus is going to get himself a
Oh,
Shyvana.
never mind. My mind is broken. Ziggs is mid lane.
Right. First pick Ziggs.
Tell me what Nien's going to play. Probably something without that much team utility. And they were waiting to see Dyrus' top lane matchup.
I feel like there was a focus for Hotshot to pick Ziggs, maybe thinking Gragas would have been banned at some point in this game, because that's what their first pick was. The Gragas was open for them still, so
yeah,
interesting there.
Hotshot, not a Gragas player. He has played a little bit of Ziggs, so it's more of the, for Hotshot, this is more of the generic champion, just pick a champion that's strong. Hasn't typically been good for Hotshot in the past when he does that. Have to see if it works out this time.
I've seen a bit of Trundle in the past. I wouldn't put it by CLG to use it, and especially in the hands of Nien. Very versatile player. He figures it out quick. Yeah,
Trundle is the right pick for them right here. We have seen very successful Trundle. He hasn't played it yet this season.
That's
it's
true.
a little difficult to get through the laning phase against Dyrus, but if he does, he will be stronger than Shyvana in teamfights, I think. It'll allow them to just ultimate. This is actually a nice synergy. You get to ultimate the tank, and then Kha'Zix can just try and eat the tank, who will generally maybe even isolate himself sometimes, and then take it to the rest of the team.
It's going to be a big one as the team's loaded to the Rift. let's check out what you guys think as they head into the locker room. See if they're happy. See if you guys are happy. The votes come in. According to LOLesports.com, 84% of you think that Team SoloMid is going to take this game. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is the direction this rivalry has taken.
People have all day to vote. So those are locked in. Those aren't swaying votes because people are just getting home. Those are locked in, and the fans have spoken. For such a big percent to come out under TSM, you got to think Bjergsen, that name that's just been really putting them on top.
I mean, and the fact that CLG has been struggling a little bit. They finished 5th place in the summer split, did not make it to World Championships last year. A lot of roster turnover. Still do not have Dexter, their European import jungler, who they plan on getting. It's a very tough time for CLG right now, and it would be a big upset if they could take down their longtime rivals, TSM, in this match.
He said they like them. They're good friends, but right now it's just not what it means to be. You're going to have to beat down your friend.
He doesn't like them sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes. This is going to be one of those times. When you face off on the big stage, head-to-head, both teams with a plethora of experience under their belt, many main stage games. Nobody on either team is a stranger to this.
No, these guys have been extremely experienced, especially with the throwback to Hotshot GG. He's been around since the start. He is the founder of Counter Logic Gaming. So the fact that he's still playing competitive here is pretty impressive.
It absolutely is impressive. You see the teams faced off there on the big screen, and we are flying in onto the Rift. The crowd is ready for this game. A huge matchup. It was the first in our Season 2. Coming in now. Season 3, thank you.
Yeah, we led the Season 3 spring split because this is the rivalry to watch.
God, we're already into Season 4.
COG
blows my mind.
The 2014 season.
Goes very fast.
We have changed the naming convention on that one.
This is true. 2014. So what does... we do see the Relic Shield coming out for Afromu, so a little bit of a change from what Crepo decides to go. He does want that cash money.
I remember talking to Afromu before the season started, just about support itemization and what his trends are, and he says he just pretty much always started with the coin and got to a Talisman of Ascension as soon as possible because he wanted to then force the initiations. Times have changed. He wants the gold, cash money.
It happens. It is the rush hour bot lane. They're going to make some good money together.
It will also allow them to shove early game if you can get a few last hits. The charged up auto attack execute on the first few melee minions definitely allows them to push for level 2 a little bit faster as long as he can avoid just getting hooked early on, since the trade of Lucian and Thresh is very substantial.
It is substantial. It's a little weird, awkward moment. You kind of have to grab your wife when you got to be saved, and she's dead. So
you're talking about the lore matchup.
Yeah.
I was really wondering where you're going with that.
As some would say, the wife steal lane.
Well, you don't know. Obviously, Lucian's wife is a soul inside Thresh's lantern.
Yeah, it's hiding in there. Just grab it. I'll save you. Like, ooh, no, I don't want to.
So, Lucian's the bigger man for still playing with Thresh.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thumbs up to Lucian. Got to give him some credit. Wild Turtle's going to help him out in that one. And we'll see what the junglers can actually produce for their lanes as they start out. We're going to see if this ward thing changes, and it hasn't. I actually looked down at the mini-map. They've all placed them out, chat. It's going to be dark again for jungle time.
Yeah, but I think jungle time might be a little bit less eventful here since both junglers are starting in a spot where they can go down to bottom lane with their very first rotation.
It's different. It's not both starting to go up.
They're not both starting blue.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out what this pause is real quickly so we can get in. It seems like Wild Turtle has left the game. It's probably just relogging really quickly to get back in. Small little graphical glitch. Got a few of those running around, but...
Yeah, it's in the air. It happens.
It's in the air. Airborne bug.
It's in the air. It's airborne. But yeah, you want to get in the game, right? Your mouse settings are perfect. Everything else is perfect. If something feels off, you have the ability to stop it right there, and you can make it happen perfectly. Because, as we said, we've built up this game. They've obviously built it up to themselves. So maybe it's just another game. That's sometimes the way to go into it. Focus on it, just 0-0 all the way through. But it's going to be a big one. A lot of people are going to get behind one or the other after this.
I wonder how TSM is preparing for this one. Like whether CLG is still their big rival or whether just, we've moved on. It's actually Cloud9 now. Because if you actually look at the historical trends, sure, TSM wins like every time it really matters, but CLG wins the head-to-head 17-14. There was a split last season during the regular season, summer split. CLG won all 4 games against TSM. They had their number until they lost to them 2-0 in the playoffs. Just such a strange and storied history between these teams.
It's kind of like you don't do good on the tests all year, but you nail the exam when it comes time to have to do good on it.
One of the guys who doesn't study. Is that TSM?
It might be.
They're the team that don't study. Maybe their work ethic has improved this year, though. They've spoken a lot about that. Obviously, these guys been together for an extremely long time. Obviously, Bjergsen and Wild Turtle, the two newest additions to the team, but X-Special, Dyrus, and the odd one on TSM. These guys have been together since, well, Dyrus since early Season 2.
And when TSM brings on a player, Turtle clicked right away, Bjergsen clicked right away. It's definitely
they take their time and
a
bring on the
welcome
right
environment. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely taking the time in scouting the reports as they take in new champions, new players, I should say. Double lift, taking a good amount of harass from Turtle here, right over the minions. The Flays as well, so they're not really trading damage, they're giving it out.
Yeah, you could see that CLG was wanting to shove, but TSM wanted to do a little more, and they were more capable of it. Aphromoo never got into execute range for minions and ended up taking a lot of harass before he could get the Relic Shield proc.
Great point. Just taking advantage of that on X-Special side. It says, come closer. And again, please, let me hit you. Nien and Dyrus, they're just going to waltz behind and back and forth of each other now as they farm it up. That lane's going to be, tilted by the junglers. We'll have to see who makes it up first. We're saying they're both going top side this time.
Yeah, these guys started the jungle top side.
Right.
Most likely going bottom side. I would also not be surprised if CLG puts more emphasis on this bottom lane turret dance than most teams do for a couple of reasons. Obviously because Double Lift as a CLG player almost always demands all the ganks. But secondly, because their coach and analyst Monte Cristo has been the most vocal about thinking that the turret changes will change the game into just being 3 people bottom. So he's most likely coached his team to say, just send 3 people bottom because that's all that matters.
Right. Stop that from going down. It's quick gold, and Wild Turtle and Special are making sure the minions are right at the turret. And we see Link. He's actually been hovering here for quite some time, but he's not really losing too much. We got Odd One doing the same thing.
Yeah, Odd One's actually doing a whole bunch of farming, which isn't exactly what CLG is thinking was going to happen. I don't know what Link has planned here. He's been in that tri-brush for a while, but the minions are never getting pushed far enough back for him to approach the lane, and he ends up just having to go back after about 20 seconds of staring.
Yeah, they kind of overthought that one.
Yep.
He will be back
Going back again. Happy feet, not good.
He's got the white there, so he's saying white time's enough for me. It came back up. Maybe I will come bottom, but Odd One's taking his time. He's not going. He's not doing it.
Well, unlike most junglers, Kha'Zix doesn't have any problems with the white because he gets the isolation very easily.
Hurts.
So that he wasn't actually having jungle happy feet. He just realized his white was up, went back and got it. And I do want to talk a bit more about the jungler starts in this one because we saw right in the game previously but with Dignitas how they were still able to achieve 2 turret kills early just because they brute forced it down and they had a better team for pushing. CLG does not have a better team for pushing right now, and they're straight up in this 2v2.
So winning these early lanes is definitely going to be something that they want to have for themselves. Great moves by Bjergsen already to start poking hot shot out of lane. He's going to start taking over in that region. It's his main spot. He should have it.
Yeah, and early on, Yen was doing quite well in the top lane as well. Dyrus went back early to get that second Doran's item. And Yen hasn't been pushed out whatsoever by Shyvana. If he can continue to trade farm or even just get more farm than Dyrus, I really do think Trundle is maybe the best scaler out of the top lane because he can steal resistance top lane. So the stronger his opponents get, the stronger he gets.
Just wait for Shiv to ult and then grab her. Just take everything she has, take it for... I guess not grand.
Just right, actually.
Yeah.
He can actually knock Shyvana out of her Dragon's Descent with the Pillar of Ice. It's possible because there's a very small displacement on it, and if he brings it up into the air as Shyvana's trying to fly over, it stops her.
We'll see if Nien has the coordination to do this. We see the back and forth. The Burnout's winning a little bit with that mixed damage, but Nien, he can still fight back. He's got a bit of sustain regen on his side.
And there were very minor Shyvana nerfs in the 4.1 patch as well. The Burnout does a little bit less damage at first tick. The minimum damage has been decreased. And obviously the maximum damage too, because it comes with the territory.
A lot of time being spent by Link in this bottom lane. I don't think he's wearing those buffs still. They have worn off, but they're still going to attempt.
Link's spending a lot of time here for not much payoff. They're hoping the TSM gets a little over-aggressive here. Aphromoo, I think, is being far too obvious with this bait here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just be dancing around that brush if you didn't have backup.
Well, X-Special has been throwing hooks. TSM is trying to gain the advantage. So like you said, there's a little too much of a behavioral change, and they see it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been pushed in for the majority of this lane, and all of the sudden, Aphromoo is asking to be hooked. I don't necessarily like this play by CLG. I'd be very surprised if TSM goes for this one. They maybe think it's been long enough that Kha'Zix is gone, but they can see the behavior change.
And maybe Link is going bot because since Doublelift didn't have an awesome game last time, and you actually need to get an Ezreal going early.
Yeah, they're thinking that, but I mean, you need to get Hotshot and Niang going early.
Yeah,
I feel like, especially if you're picking Ezreal for Doublelift, he's just going to be wanting to farm here. And there's the gank from Odd1, just locking him down.
Good amount of damage. He chooses to go over the Wraiths, as the Vault Breaker is going to be on pretty high cooldown right now. The barrel! Oh, he's going to put the barrier down. The Flame Breath does not equal either. Those changes.
So Hotshot escaped with a sliver of life, but mainly because TSM was not in sync with that gank. Odd1 initiated very early and did the brunt of the damage to Hotshot GG, but then Dyrus and Bjergsen, which could have just secured a very easy kill if they had all arrived at once, were very late and got very small amounts of damage down onto Hotshot. Just the Flame Breath and the ult.
Oh, great grab after the death of that minion. So well played, and the mechanics there of a little 1-2 from TSM.
Yeah, they're winning this lane. Actually, they're not. It looks like they're winning the lane because it's 68-60, but that's because the Relic Shield has actually shared 8 CS with Doublelift.
Still keeping themselves pretty safe, even though they've been losing in these engagements. We're only 8 minutes into the game right now. Looks like Link will actually take this for himself. And that's not going to go to Hotshot right now. They're not going to put a huge focus on him.
Honestly, Link needs the experience right now.
This is true.
He spent so much time waiting around in other lanes. Obviously, you'd think, oh, if a jungler's behind, just let your mid laner farm more.
Yeah.
I disagree. Kha'Zix can spam spells a lot in the jungle and actually benefit greatly off of this blue buff. And they need Kha'Zix to get ahead in order to be an effective jungler. So at this point in the game, knowing Hotshot has already gotten heavy mana regeneration from his itemization, the blue buff on Link is actually the proper choice.
Yeah, he's got to be big to be hit with an explosive cask as soon as he comes into the fight. Right now, he's nowhere near that. 44-35 CS in that jungle. The Odd1 has been keeping himself farming. And like you said, CLG was expecting a lot more ganks from him this game.
Yeah. And one interesting thing to note is the gold generation that Aphromoo is getting out of that Targons are making up for the fact that CLG is losing in jungle and mid-farm from a team perspective a little bit. There you go. Another cannon was shared. That was 42 gold extra for Aphromoo. That wouldn't have existed if you didn't have that gold per 10 item. It's now generated 250 gold for him and his team. So that's a lot already, only 9.4 minutes in.
And we see the pockets, the gold getting so much. I think it was 2,700 on Doublelift. You said before that it's a little scarier to leave your lanes with these turrets so quickly going down now.
Yeah, these bottom lane guys wanted to put some focus on it. You know Wild Turtle can take down a turret very quickly.
Right.
Especially on Lucian. Lucian and Jinx, the two newest additions to the league from AD carry perspective. Kill turrets pretty damn fast.
Yeah, the turret decimators. Oh, Hotshot getting hit. Not a huge amount of damage. Oh, he gets bopped off the satchel charge, and he throws him horizontally across instead of into the end zone where it needed to go. A good kill there, but it's not over. Xpecial in the bottom lane gets hit up. The blue buff onto Link comes into play.
The ganks finally in the bot lane come to a bit of fruition, but the mid lane gank comes from TSM. They're just trying to trade carries a little bit right here. It was supposed to be Doublelift versus Bjergsen, but because it was a more chaotic kill in the bottom lane, Link ends up getting it, and Bjergsen walks away with the money.
Great coordination in both fights as Xpecial and Hotshot go down on either side. The kills make it 1-1 there. Really, first blood, not going to help too much since that second kill rings up the cash.
Yeah, obviously the first blood is worth a little bit extra. It's 400 gold for the kill versus 300, and then the appropriate amount in assists as well. So it's 600 gold for the first blood team-wide. Doesn't really matter, though. CLG more gold when all is said and done.
They are creeping
They're
a little
sticking
bit
in this
over.
one pretty well.
It's 11 minutes in. They've been able to find the small lead that we see in the gold. BF Sword Deceptor is what you're looking at in both inventories of the AD carry, and I'd be interested to see if Doublelift actually tries to go blue again this time, not really having anything to push him forward.
I know. It'll be very revealing to see if Doublelift changes up his build or not. A lot of the Ezreals I've seen recently go Blade of the Ruin King and Trinity Force for just extreme mobility on Ezreal.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's already built the BF Sword makes me think he's going to go Bloodthirster and then potentially into the Iceborne Gauntlets and Muramana build. That is his typical style. He might end up having some mana problems if he doesn't build at least a Trinity Force after that Bloodthirster. Maybe he's going to go that direction.
It looks like CLG, just like Dignitas, is focused quite a bit on damage. Lizard Elves are going on to Link, as it would be for Kha'Zix. Well, we still have Odd One trying to build tanky. Oh, Hotshot gets hit there. Odd One's back in once again. He misses the Vault Breaker, but the Assault and Battery's there. The barrier goes down to safety. The Mega Inferno Bomb does not have enough damage.
That was one of those situations where Hotshot should have just accepted his fate. Once he got blown in the wrong direction by the Gragas ultimate, and Vi was on the way, there was no escaping that, but he still burned everything. That means the repeat ganks and the repeated camping of ganking is going to happen for Hotshot. He's in trouble.
Teams have definitely been playing different styles against Hotshot. They left him up with Cassiopeia and then left him alone all game because they knew he wouldn't be a factor. They're putting a little respect here into the Ziggs, and they know they got to take him down.
TSM's definitely trying to pick on Hotshot right now. Old rivalry, to say the least. They played a lot of games against Hotshot back in the day.
Make sure they get him out. He was focused in pretty much whatever lane he was in. You have to remember when he was on the Cho'Gath, and he would draw 5 people to him, and then your team would just do Baron because there's 5 people on the other side of the map.
It's interesting. Hotshot's strategy has always been to create as much map pressure as possible regardless of dying. It doesn't work as well in mid lane because he can't get turret pressure. Link in a bit of trouble here as Gragas comes in.
Ooh, that was just like a spear almost. Yeah.
He wanted to go back for more. Would have been bad.
Not the ideal situation to be in with that Bjergsen power. He has finished the Athenes. These guys are actually ready to fight those objectives. Dragon's Descent. Looks like he's just going to farm. Nien's got the ult down, but you guys aren't really going on each other.
He's losing out a little bit on creeps right now. I wonder if he can finish him off. He's getting a lot of damage down. Blade of the Rune King's speed is gone now.
Ooh, wow, that was a great flash. That's a
tricky wall.
One of the thicker walls. Very nice job. He had to kind of coordinate it and take a second to find which way he wanted to go. More pushing by Wild Turtleneck Special in the bottom lane, and that one was forced to be shifted on. They're really working the minion kill grab technique.
So let's take stock again on what's just happened, because Double Lift, that lane is up by about 15 CS. We have to consider all of Aphromu's farm to actually be on Double Lift as well. And then, well, in a strange way, you can almost double it, because the shield actually does double the CS. So if we're thinking about total gold, they're up by much more. My math is messed up in my head. Here's an ult.
Goes the Solar Flare onto a special. They get a very nice combine with the True Shot Barrage. Link's on the backside. He doesn't even get the assist as he jumps in, unfortunate.
Well, that was the Leona ult into just ranged Ezreal. If his ult doesn't hit any creeps, it also does an excessive amount more damage. It has huge damage fall off on creeps. So right now, CLG is still looking pretty good, despite Hotshot getting camped and losing a whole bunch. The rest of their lanes are actually quite successful.
This is interesting. They just went for Dragon, so you think TSM would have played a bit safer to not allow something like this to happen. CLG put the pieces in place, and they're able to go for it right away. Aphromu gets pushed aside. He's burning down, and it's going to be Turtle from the backside. He walks into a kill. There's the ultimate, but the flash comes in. Quick fingers from Link.
I got to say, when everything's done for that one, CLG comes out on top again. They don't care about Aphromu dying. He's still got his gold. He's still got his gold generation. They got the dragon. No one else died. It burned a Bjergsen flash out an ultimate, which actually takes pressure off of Hotshot. Everything about that dragon exchange works positively for CLG.
They're going to be coming up with a bit of gold in their favor. Bjergsen is really playing the zone game onto Hotshot. He knows to stay far behind the turret right now and not really calling for too much help from Link. They're actually not trying to go back on Bjergsen.
And I finally thought through my Relic Shield point.
Bam.
It is like doubling the CS. Because not only is Double Lift getting the gold right now, so it's like he's at 150 CS, that doesn't take away from Aphromu's 16. So they're actually about 32 CS up on TSM's lane when you combine them.
And it looks like they're able to get the kills. We did see that come into effect. Power coming down onto a special just a few seconds ago. Made it 3-2 now. They're still behind in 1. But they found the lead in gold. The Dragon was very nice movement after the kill. It's something CLG's been working on and doing great, is movement.
Yeah, they're really sticking in this one, and I think their late game scaling is actually pretty strong. Depending on how powerful Bjergsen gets, that's the big fear for them, whether he can take out Hotshot and Double Lift in one fell swoop of a couple buttons. And Double Lift with the Chain Vest, that's telling us he's going Iceborne Gauntlets, I think.
Oh,
you don't build the Chain Vest for too many reasons, unless he's going GA after Bloodthirster, but that would not be wise.
He did have quite a kick in money just recently, so maybe he thinks it'll keep flowing in. If he hits that plateau, it's going to be a bit painful in the poke damage come later. 17 minutes now. We just saw the Dragon go down, so we're going to be back to the laning for a little bit. Link has been hovering in lanes and not finding too much.
No, but he has improved in effectiveness a little bit just because he could secure that Dragon for his team, and he put a lot of Dragon pressure
finding it other places
on the rest of them. As you can see, Aframu took another cannon minion. That's the one you always want to go for if you're a Relic Shield support. I like talking about Relic Shield because I like running 2 of them with like double bruiser lanes. So,
you mean like Darius Maokai?
Maybe.
Oh man,
I like that.
I never would have guessed.
I like that combo.
500, 600 gold lead. Very, very small right now. And the odd one shows face, but they throw down the ultimate right after the turret goes down. Aframu gets a little hypey there, and it's going to be Link coming in from the backside, but he gets the assault and battery. They take him down instantly. Beautiful focus as the ignite ticks down onto the odd one. They're still trading back and forth. A double kill coming in for Turtle. The bomb from the backside isn't enough, though. 80 carry versus 80 carry as they go toe-to-toe. Red buff versus not. And the skill shots were hit by Doublelift the whole time. Look out, Bjergsen's making his way in.
And we have to remember Double is going to win that duel because he has a chain vest already, so he has all the armor against Wild Turtle.
That chain vest won't do much now.
Oh, that's a lot of magic damage, actually. So look out. Let's see how many skill shots he can land and if he can juke the spells.
He hit the slow. He's got 1 HP. Stealing the health back. The ignite goes down to half that healing. Bjergsen almost loses out on the kill, but he follows through.
Unfortunately, Doublelift used his shift and didn't dodge any of Bjergsen's burst, so that is not exactly what he wanted to do. Well played by Bjergsen to get that kill. Nien, though, on the offensive.
Nien definitely wants and has to get this kill. Bjergsen got very big, and he gets pushed off of this. That could be a Flame Breath and an attack by Dyrus, but the chomp from Nien could also be the kill.
See, Nien is stuck in between a pretty bad place right now because Nien doesn't let the creeps get to the turret. He's trapped.
On the backside, Dyrus gets what he wants out of this, possibly. Gets the speed out of the movement, does not have Vault Breaker to get back in range. Link's there for the slow.
Stop him.
He puts a beautiful pillar up, and he jumps into the punch in the face and takes it to the kisser. Bjergsen finds himself across the map. The fat man is moving. Xpecial comes in with the play. He wants a piece of the assist, and it never ends. 2 kills go on to CLG. TSM starting to pull away.
And Dyrus around the back finished off Nien. 2 kills for them right there. The chance coming through.
Aframu gets hit up the true shot barrage. Whoa, they wanted back on that one. There is just no end to this fight.
Why CLG? Yeah, it may have ended now.
The kick had ended.
For a second. Why CLG tried to continue that fight is a massive miscalculation of their strength right there. It ended up getting both of them killed because Link tried to turn. It was a great save, but just can't stay. Disengaged from the barrel. Aframu's still looking to ult someone.
He just used that Gragas barrel. It is coming up super fast.
Thing's on a short cooldown.
It is.
Actually.
It is.
Yeah. Especially when he's got a blue buff and his Athene's Unholy Grail. It's a 58.5 second cooldown on the Gragas Explosive Cask.
Yeah.
Every minute.
What's that?
Minute is a short time in this game.
It seems really long. It's not long when you're warding. If you're waiting for your ult, it seems like forever. 8-5 here, and this game has definitely given us something to talk about, chat. It's exactly what the fans wanted, and it's been back and forth, brutal, and we're only 20 minutes into the game here.
Classic TSM CLG rivalry right here. And one thing that's surprising about CLG's team is despite having a Ziggs, the Demolitionist, they're not able to kill any turrets. It's because Hotshot has been getting picked on so heavily. That's just Wild Turtle with the Bloodthirster Machine basically creating a 3rd turret kill for TSM.
And that Sheen's already going to help start taking down these structures here. We saw Dyrus get the top one. They take advantage of the middle one as well, just on the backside. He tucked his wings in for that one.
And yeah, now that TSM has 3 turrets down, it is a very critical moment in the game. The Dragon will come back up in 10 seconds. Whether TSM can completely control this or whether CLG can adequately defend this. Because if CLG wins a fight, since the turrets will be very close to them, they'll be able to get the turrets back and slingshot themselves ahead in gold. But if TSM gets the Dragon, and even a fight win, that'll put them 5,000 or 6,000 ahead, and will also block CLG for even longer to get access to the turret gold that they haven't taken down yet. This fight means a lot, Riv.
They are charging up. Odd one looks not too much damage from that cask, actually. It looks like CLG gets the jump on this one, but it looks like Link going down. Wild Turtle getting really nice shots on this one. Odd one has put himself in the back line in the 4v1, and he actually comes up with a kill for himself. No, Doublelift gets it. It's not the kill, but Bjergsen follows up on the Retribution. A 1 for 3 with Odd one going deep.
That's the fight that TSM wanted. They could not kill Bjergsen, but Bjergsen could kill them. This is huge for TSM because now not only does CLG not get the Dragon, they do not get turret pressure. This initiation wasn't the cleanest thing because Leona ult actually missed. Bjergsen kind of smelled the gank coming. Ward was over the wall. He baited it out perfectly and meant CLG overcommitted. Odd1 could get in the backline to zone out the CLG damage. Even though Double had finished off one, Bjergsen got him in retribution. And that is just 3 kills for 1, plus the Dragon, and a 5,000 gold lead now for TSM.
And that 5,000 gold lead just turned into a Rabid Dons. That Talisman of Ascension coming out. The Boots of Lucidity as well. These guys are making headway in core items, and they're still being recipeed by CLG. The fights are falling behind for them. They even had the upper hand in that. It looked like they came out of nowhere and surprised TSM, but they refocused immediately.
That was the point of them trying to make that gank attempt, but they were right on top of Ward. That's the unfortunate thing. Look at all the spray of wards that TSM has around the Dragon area. You know, they said in 2014 season it is the team's responsibilities to ward because one person can only put down 3 wards regular by himself. They're definitely warding as a team right now for TSM.
CLG turns away from Dyrus. They wanted nothing to do with one champion because they do not know what's on the other side of the fog of war. They have a ward over by Tribrush, but that's for the Baron engagement. Now the CLGs, or rather TSM's in their jungle, they're almost blind.
Yeah, not much vision. That's what happens when they get the 3 turrets down.
Yeah.
Which was why that Dragon fight was so critical for CLG to be able to come out on top. At this point, CLG has moved completely to their back foot. And especially because Bjergsen has just completed his Rabadon's death cap, the tower siege is really strong for TSM right now. Just a couple spells from Bjergsen can clear out a team and allow a turret to be taken by TSM. And
Bjergsen is always been a factor, non-stop. He plays the top champions that are being banned out right now at the highest level, and you just can't get him out of the mid lane. He gets Gragas here, and that was like his 3rd choice pick after Zed and after LeBlanc. Yeah, and 5-0-3. It has definitely been a TSM strategy to just pick on Hotshot this game. Yeah, absolutely. Really easy to notice. Hotshot did not deal with the Odd1 and Bjergsen's gank pressure extremely well. It's obviously pretty hard. Like, Vi's ganks mid lane are extremely difficult to dodge. At that point, you have to start countering it with either counter ganks or objective control, which CLG tried to do a little bit, but because they lost push pressure in almost every lane, they just weren't able to control the map. It was kind of an early game thought that CLG, as you said, would anticipate the counter gank all over. Link spent a lot of time hanging out in the brush this game. Yeah, and Odd1 almost never counter ganked it. So you have to you have to give a lot of credit where credit's due to Wild Turtle Next Special for taking all of that Kha'Zix pressure and just dealing with it. Sure, X Special died a couple times to Leona ultimates, but if we look at it now, after the Dragon fight and the rest of the team coming down, it's a 4-1 Wild Turtle against a 4-2 Double. That's what worked out for him. We see Nian and Dyrus. They were in the top lane before, but they're going to meet up back in the bottom lane for a little rendezvous. Wards to be cleared out here as the Pinks trying to go down from TSM so they can just suffocate CLG right now. And Aphromoo is looking for a bit more initiation power right now, actually. He sold his Relic Shield for a Nomad's Medallion. He's going to be trying to get a Talisman of Ascension as quickly as possible. I actually don't like that move, personally, even though the Talisman active is great. Yeah. The stats on the item are so great for Leona's tankiness, and I think it's incredibly important for him when he's diving onto Wild Turtle that he can stay alive. Aphromoo this season has had a few troubles being too squishy, especially when he's on Thresh. Yeah. He goes with very low health builds, and he's doing it a little bit again here. Sure, he has the Giant spell. Yeah, he's trying to coordinate but he's giving out a lot of health getting rid of that Targon's Brace. Took some time for them to get there as well, so they're always kind of waiting an extra few seconds before they can get to something. Looking at the Hex Drinker now on Link, piecing together items that will at least keep him alive a little bit longer to maybe get some of those resets. Yeah, that's pretty important thing for him. He still doesn't have many items, though. He never got to the point where he could get a Hydra and power clear his jungle, because now the jungle is populated by Team SoloMid. And you can see the population of Team SoloMid goes along with the aggression. Bjergsen feels safe to not really build any resistances, or at least go into that Seeker's Arm Guard. He's going what Scar did last game. Full selfish damage. I wonder if CLG's going to try and get a fight here. They have to know TSM's in here. Oh, no. Oh, they did it again! As soon as he hit the duck Ducky. They bring him down to knock him down to size.
Assault and battery right to a death sentence. That is really brutal punishment right there for Hotshot. He's picked on again, now 0-3. TSM's going to be putting a lot of Baron pressure on right now with the good pink ward inside.
My God, they're just forcing everything. He shifted into the barrel. That is unfortunate.
Oh.
And then he got eaten by a dragon. You're not getting any Dyrus' treasure. They push CLG down to the backside. This is not good for Link. Down to half HP. The Ignite's on. He is forced to get out of that with the flash hook coming from Xpecial.
TSM is just all over the map right now. Doublelift got obliterated by the Bjergsen right there. Good lord. Still no magic resist on him, obviously, because he went for those Iceborne gauntlets, just has the armor, and this is a Baron try by TSM. Link would have to make it there real fast to try and get this steal. Not even a flash up, just used his leap.
And they didn't even have to go around. They got 4 members that can jump that wall, which may happen on the backside. Here comes the Mega Inferno. It goes to the odd one. Usually not missing his smites, and they're going to pursue here.
Usually nerves a steal on that guy, and they're just going to continue to try and push through.
Ooh, the flash. That would have been death.
Would have been real close to a death. He doesn't have to wait too long for that ultimate to come back up either. TSM's going to continue to clean objectives. They're in full control now, Rick.
Even before that Baron, they fought it outside. CLG knew they needed to get to it so much that they got fought the outside of the Baron pit. That's how much TSM has control, and they can just pretty much dictate where CLG walks right now.
And they're doing a lot of that.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Looks like Link is going to do what he can to push this top lane so it doesn't have to be a worry, as they are now going to have to defend either mid or bottom. It doesn't look like bottom's getting pushed out. It hasn't been TSM's focus. But they could do whatever they want right now.
They really can. I think what they should want to do most is shop. Dyrus is sitting on 3,300 gold. Bjergsen just converted 2,000 to finish off that Void Staff. And El Wild Turtle has 2,300. He's trying to save up for a last Whisper. Just finished it off. Now they've shopped. Now it's time for them to win, I think. Doublelift going to have to be careful, actually.
Entering double lift mode, split push everything, takes down the turret. He's going to start backing off of that one. The odd one could have put a little damage down, but he would have got kited out, so he stays home.
Odd one's pretty farmed as well.
Yeah, he's big right now.
Level 14.
He's throwing some items in there.
Wins.
He got some cash.
He's got the odd brutalizer in there. It's a very popular pickup on junglers nowadays. They have a bit of that increased gold flow, and the small amount of armor penetration actually helps drastically when you're going to assassinate carries. Not to mention just being able to gank that little bit sooner with Assault and Battery. I do think, though, that TSM's just going to go for the second wave of turrets here. They've already taken down 3. They can get 3 more quite easily. With the Baron buff, it's very difficult for CLG to defend against these. Bjergsen can take down almost whoever he wants if he gets a good burst down, which means the rest of CLG has to be extremely cautious and cannot even defend.
Wow, this is very risky and shows how powerful TSM is. To be able to siege off an Ezreal and a Ziggs, they have a bit of power approaching the turret, and it's being respected by CLG right now.
But it's also a Ziggs who is tremendously far behind. They have taken Hotshot GG completely out of this game. He is so scared with this wave clear. He's not even having the guts to put his minefield out in front of the minion wave sometimes because he's afraid that Bjergsen's going to kill him with a couple spells. Yeah,
TSM still rolls with that odd one behind the mid lane. It used to be Reginald right in his back pocket when he needed to be there for his scare, and now they're just making complete plays out of it all game. 4-1 in turrets as they pressure down mid lane onto the first inhibitor, Jat, and it looks aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, the minions are clear, but doesn't mean TSM doesn't want a bit more damage. They get almost half the turret right there. Wild Turtle took about, let's see how much, a lot of damage from the Ziggs, but he's just going to lifesteal that back up, and they're going to try and siege on the next wave.
Bottom lane isn't pushing too well, or top lane, so yeah, it looks like they're going to hover here for just a bit. They're going to steal up the resources and go back at it.
Yeah, nice blue buff take by Bjergsen there, but while they were gone, Hotshot got the minefield down. Makes this wave clear a little bit easier. I think if TSM doesn't get this on the next couple waves, they're going to move down and take down turrets 4 and 5 on the outer ring, but they're making pretty good headway right here.
Looks like that's the hook misses. The Baron is still there, and it's definitely deterring this fight. They go on to Hotshot. He's going to be the focus once again. He gets the rubber ducky this time, saves face, and he saves himself. Throws back the bombs to try and help from the back line, but it's not going to be enough. Too much tank, too much TSM.
Odd One was all on his own right there, and Wild Turtle's getting a little bit low. This could be the fight continue.
Yen throws down the ultimate. He's trying to steal those resistances. The tank to watch. They focus down onto Dyrus, and that's perfect. Dyrus is making them do it perfectly as they take down the inhibitor. There's too many things on the priority list to be focused for CLG. Link goes in, but he's hit back out, and they can't get much of anything right now.
Yeah, TSM's just playing defense right now. He plays him.
Almost gets the bite in, but the double lift barrier comes up. That barrel would have for surely kill Doublelift right now. Bjergsen's forced out with the rest of the team.
Yeah, 1-for-1 right there, but TSM gets what they came for. There was actually a fantastic play in the middle of that fight that stopped Aphromu's Zenith Blade and really just turned a bit of the initiation around. But you can see the Giant Waves on the side. You're going to go back. Check out this play right as Leona was trying to go in. And then Dyrus took them out as well. This is more of zone control from TSM, more than in a fight. They don't have much room to try and dive in on people, so they're mainly just focusing on getting that turret. And then at this point, they're about getting out of here without losing the fight, which they did quite well.
They did lose the inhibitor, but we see that CLG can coordinate to get a few of those members down. If it happens on their terms, it might be what they need. We can see Shield charged up by Aphromu, but he does not decide to use it because right now they're blind coming out of their base. There's a lot of fog of war.
Yeah, and Hotshot's low on mana. He just used his pop. Aphromu had to ult to defend him, and I don't even know if it's going to make it. Odd one flash. They are picking on him.
Oh, he puts up the pillar, but is it going to be enough? The Zanyas goes down, and it's only a matter of time. Hotshot goes down once again, and he barely just got back off the fountain from being very low. Nien with a few more shots, and it's gonna be the pop on the passive after flashing in for the kill.
And that's the culling, doing a lot of damage from Doublelift in a bad spot.
Oh, we saw this with Vayne. Can you do it, Doublelift? He goes for one. He has the lifesteal. He can actually get two if he dodges this one out. The shift goes to the left. It's gonna be the punch coming in from Vi. She'll ask questions later.
First miss actually there from Bjergsen. He whiffed his ultimate on Doublelift. That would have made it a very much easier fight for TSM.
Yeah.
Doublelift trying to make plays on his own, but that is not enough right now. 11,000 gold, another turn gold down.
59.1 to 47.1. The gold lead has just not astronomical, but TSM has found a way to invest that and get the return back at the same time. The 7th turret to go down here, they're not even scared of the Mega Inferno bombs.
Yeah, they still have their 80 carry up right now, whole bunch of damage. No 80 carry up on the other side. Can they get that inhibitor? They actually don't.
Aphromu goes all the way in with Link. Actually, very nice coordination on getting a kill. And Bjergsen and Wild Turtle, those are the damage dealers. And the DPS out of the fight, they find the kills they need.
All right. TSM definitely overstayed their welcome.
Yes.
It was a good defense by CLG in that sense, but there's no way they're out of the woods. Still very clear that Bjergsen is a death machine. Finishing a Deathfire Grasp. It's actually really, really difficult to pull off a DFG combo on Gragas because he's generally spiking people from super long range.
Yeah.
And you'd have to catch someone in Fog of War to DFG them and then burst them down. He absolutely could, but it's an interesting item choice in that case. It really tells me he's trying so hard to just... I think he's actually not taking it too seriously, because if he had a Zani's Hourglass, that is by far the better build here.
Yeah.
But the DFG will provide a little bit more damage. They got to make it to this Baron buff quickly, because Kha'Zix eats this thing super fast.
They are going to have more than enough time to get there. It's already going to be the odd one.
This is real.
The odd one's in base, actually. He's under the coin of Wild Turtle. I didn't see him. This should be pretty easy for Link to get down.
Got it.
That smite hits. The Baron ult. Oh my god, the Gragas ult almost wipes everybody in the Baron pit. Link tries to limp back into the fight. Dyrus is doing what he can. A 4v1 situation before he Dragons descends out of the fight. And look at Link, Doublelift, Aphromu running for their lives. Nien can't quite get away. He tries to kite it out, but it's not going to be enough. Trundle goes down. It's 50 seconds on these death chambers, and it's going to be a big push for TSM.
Hey, as far as stalling, though, that move is great by CLG. You could see TSM was sloppy in their rotation. They overstayed their welcome previously, and they didn't expect CLG to take that Baron so decisively.
Yeah.
But because they got 2 kills, they're going to need to get these inhibitors on recycle so the Super Minions can continue to push in CLG. Otherwise, CLG would be able to come back a bit.
Come back a bit, and it's going to be tough. We look at the other side of the map, and it's only that bottom turret that Doublelift dropped some 10 minutes ago that they have. So potentially, all that gold is there, but it's going to take a while to get, Jat.
All right, so now there will be 2 waves of Super Minions coming into CLG's base. If TSM can't push in more, CLG will continue to gain gold. They are down about 10,500 right now. The game was pretty much out of reach until TSM turned those kills around at their second inhibitor, and then more importantly got the Baron afterwards. There's actually still a chance that CLG turns it around only because of that Baron buff that they just got.
TSM really has to walk themselves into this one, though. They're going to play it with hard hats on, of course, coming in on this. Everybody's got about 1,600 to spend, but that might even not be able to be spent with inventories all the way full of recipes. So they're holding on to gold until it's a core item.
So TSM is right here to not give CLG any breathing room. While there are 2 waves of super minions, is the time that TSM wants to take down this 3rd inhibitor turret. If CLG can land a really good pillar and a great Leona ult on a priority target like Bjergsen, who does not have a Zhonya's to stop it, I think that's their window to getting back in this game. Short of doing that, I think the super minions push through to CLG's base. TSM sieges this down appropriately. They got 3 inhibitors, and they end the game soon.
Hotshot with a little bit better wave clear now. We're still waiting for him to actually approach 18. He's 2 levels behind Bjergsen. So there is a bit of damage we're not seeing from them yet, but it may be too little too late.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, that Doublelift is going for kind of the Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal, but without the Tear of the Goddess or the Merman. So it actually gets him the slow point, and he's still pretty strong at this point, just almost less damage than the old one. Here comes the turret siege from TSM. And maybe an initiation from CLG.
Dyrus kind of taunting him out there. The Sunfire Cape aggroed the turret, and that's enough for CLG to want the fight. I don't know if they want it fully, though. Bjergsen's on the backside waiting to really initiate. The ult is up, and it looks like they're actually trying to get CLG out of the base before this.
Yeah, CLG could not lock onto Bjergsen, so they had to get out of that fight. Now the question is, have they overstayed? They have to heal, and the super minions are killing their Nexus.
Going so hard. The Nexus turret goes down on the first side. They're going to have to peel people off for this, and Hotshot goes down in the blink of an eye. Jat, this looks like it could be the end.
It looks really bad for CLG right now. Link flashes in for support. Here comes TSM.
The shutdown going over to the odd one, gets him his 2nd kill of the game. Turtle's up in the front doing what he can with a riot shield in front of him. The Guardian Angel, they can't get through that even, and it looks like the Nexus turret's gonna go down. The Nexus will fall, and TSM takes the head-to-head versus CLG.
Game 1 of 2014 season goes to TSM and Bjergsen right there. 927 on Gragas. Turtle was 926 on Lucian. The whole team contributed. 13 assists by the odd one. They just picked on Hotshot GG that entire game. Hotshot died 6 times, did not pick up a kill. TSM synergy coming in strong as they defeat their old rivals.
The bro life happening between Bjergsen and Dyrus there. Very well played. Great synergy throughout the team. And like I said, Bjergsen's so hard to ban out. He got Gragas after being banned out on 2 other champions, and he was like, thanks for one of my top tiers, guys.
But let's focus on this, actually.
For sure. Let's.
As TSM gets an applause walking across the stage. Bjergsen was only successful because Odd One ganked for him so much.
Yeah.
He didn't actually get solo kills on Hotshot GG. Everything was a gank from the Odd One. And that also means for the rest of TSM, they weren't getting ganks. Right. They had to do all that on their own. We can think back to XTG. I remember the feature they did earlier on, and Benny was saying how Zuna or Xmithy just did nothing but gank for ManCloud last year.
Yeah.
Right? But ManCloud was the highest killer in the history of the LCS. Like, that formula was working. Yep. It hasn't worked so far. So in this season, now that they've lost that mid synergy. So the mid synergy for TSM, exceptionally important. I think Bjergsen with the Odd One in the short time they've had together, especially picking on who is, even though an experienced player, an inexperienced mid laner in Hotshot GG, was a great game plan.
In those first 3 picks in Champion Select, I was kind of like, that's a little too much for Team SoloMid. I said they'd almost won Champion Select there.
Their very start of it was incredibly strong. Yeah. You could see they had the mid lane.
Shyvana Vi Gragas.
Let's go pick on someone.
We're good.
Go in for exactly what they want. CLG had a couple small windows to come back in the game. But when they couldn't contest that one dragon around the mid-game, and they lost the 3 deaths on a failed engage, and the even tinier window at the end once they got Baron. Other than that, it was all TSM.
Their rotations, it's something they didn't focus on as much this game. They kind of left it up to Link to hang out in a lane.
Yeah.
And we saw, with all that aggression, we kind of questioned why Link wasn't going mid. Maybe it was kind of a lost thing, because that's what TSM does. If a lane loses, they're going to feed the other lanes.
Yeah, he wasn't capable of ganking Gragas. No. I think Bjergsen was too powerful in that lane. The rest of the CLG lanes, there's not much you can rotate to if Shyvana is at your turret, if the bottom lane is at the turret, and if your mid lane is dead. Nothing is working across the map, and they could never set anything up.
We see all these different champions coming in. I figured Nien may have brought something different to the table, more of a playmaker, because he's actually able to do that. Trundle's kind of the thing that sits in lane, and kind of like Dyrus has been playing on that Shyvana. He used to be Jace. We used to say Dyrus carrying with the hammer, right?
Yeah.
But it's switched up quite a bit, and they're focusing just Bjergsen now.
At least in this game, because they wanted to stop Hotshot GG. Last week, definitely a little bit. Dyrus is that consistent rock in the top lane who they could rely on.
Slippery, safe,
There's a
consistent.
few games, Shyvana, he farmed like 350 CS, was involved in like 1 kill and an assist, whereas Bjergsen was in 10. That strategy works. I think it's a similar strategy that XDG, when they were Vulcan last year, took. Psycho Sid was almost never involved, but always impactful to the game. And ManCloud roamed around and make a lot of plays. A mid-focus style of game can absolutely work. SK Telecom did it a lot before the rest of their team ramped up and became superstars in their own right. It's a very successful strategy in this game.
So how do we feel? Obviously, it can work. It hasn't twice. How do you feel about the Ezreal pick? Trying to go blue build right now in League.
Yeah, it's kind of a double list special. And he's now 0-2 when he builds Iceborne Gauntlets in game. Yeah. I feel like it's an okay choice. Doublelift has not had a very good start to the 2014 season.
Right.
He had so many impressive plays in Season 3. And right now, I just don't think like it fits, especially against a Bjergsen who was incredibly far ahead. It used to be I liked the Iceborne Gauntlets against bruiser-heavy teams because not only could it kite the team, it could also provide you resiliency in case you did get closed on. Yeah. But now when Doublelift got closed on, Bjergsen blew him up.
Well, even talking about Wild Turtle, he had pretty much an exceptional game himself fighting in that bottom lane. We actually have a replay here we're going to pull up of him taking down Nien in the base. It just goes to show how strong these guys were.
Yeah, I mean, we can really just see how they went all out for Hotshot GG. That's the big thing that they did here. Everything was trapped. And then, obviously, Wild Turtle on the bottom. This is a Randwin's Omen, Nien. And because Wild Turtle hit aside from that one, every shot of the culling, flash forward for the double shot, and his Q right there. It was a very farmed Wild Turtle, despite having to lane against Doublelift. And that's one thing that Doublelift and Aphromoo haven't been able to do this year, is even though they can get farmed themselves, they have not shut down enemy AD carries whatsoever.
And something we also saw is just how confident they were in all those pushes. That side of the map was entirely warded. He dove and then kept flashing into the base, into CLG's base. That means you guys are ready to just win the game. They had such a lead in that, and it's not something CLG even expected, I think, to have to deal with that game.
Yeah, that was a rough one. 38 minutes, 23 kills to 12. You got to say round 1 goes to TSM.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up again. We'll get to see this one. It's never just one.